All right, Ryan, we're coming back. Fantasy football. Football's tomorrow night, right around the corner. I don't know if you're as excited as I am, but I'm pretty pumped.
Oh, you know I am. I've got my team playing tomorrow night. Year two of the podcast. We took a little year off, took a little break, but we're happy to be coming back to you
Yeah, we,
guys.
we had to do some special technical difficulty stuff to bring this to you tonight, so I hope all you boys appreciate it. But
Got a little dry run in there, didn't we, Clayton?
oh yeah, a little bit to figure some stuff out. But I'm excited to be back. I'm excited for football. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited for Sunday. I'm excited for Monday. Um, I just
Basketball and hockey have done a great filler job
Oh
for me,
yeah,
but
hockey's been
there's
clutch.
been
Basketball's been
something missing
clutch.
from my heart.
Oh, and yeah, it's right around the corner. Alrighty, I say we just hop right into it. Here comes
I
the
love it.
teams. Everybody should be able to see those if you are watching on YouTube. All right, Ryan, I'll let you get started here on mine.
We're going to start with you, Clayton. Again, we had a nice little draft day trade or trades that helped both of our teammates, but teams out, I think. Maybe yours a little bit more rankings wise, mine a little bit more home team preference wise. But I like your team. I like the top of your team with Ezekiel Elliott and Kenyon Drake in the running back spots. I think Kenyon Drake could be really good in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, and I'm excited to see what Tom Brady does this year with all those weapons around him.
Oh, very excited for TB12. Alrighty, of course you got my homeboy. I mean, I wouldn't want to see him on
Goat
anybody.
man, goat man, goat man.
I wouldn't want to see him on anybody else's team, but really excited. You got Mahomes. I'm excited to see what Clyde does in the Andy Reid offense. Excited to see what Hop does with Cliff and Kyler. Kelsey's solid, and then I think Gibson, Singletary, and Fournette. I mean, you kind of need one of those guys to just really hit and be good. But just I like the team, like the squad. Um, hope you have a solid year, honestly.
One of them will be there. Yeah, we're rooting for each other. I think we have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
nice
always
little
root for each other.
symbiotic thing going here. All right, we'll move on to Harley, another team who drafted some of his own players, which I respect. Just not their team. I don't. A couple Cowboys here. They're but we'll see how they do. I do like Dak. He's the one I like best. And then Tyler Higbee, I think, could actually be around a top five tight end. He finished the year really strong last year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Dak does with that offense, and I think Tyler could do good too. I'm excited, and I hope James Conner's healthy. I think if James Conner's healthy, plays a full year for Harley, that'd be huge for him. But going
Definitely.
on into Casey's team, really liked Casey's draft to be honest. Big Watson guy, love Watson, love Barkley. Evans has a hamstring thing that I don't know how that's gonna go. Casey's wide receivers though, I still like him even though I think he's stronger at running back. Waller had a solid season last year, and I really think DK off his bench is gonna be solid just in case Evans or Allen can't get it going.
Very interesting pick in Rodrigo Blankenship.
Oh
Be
yeah,
curious to see if he can
definitely.
see the balls he's kicking.
Oh yeah, those glasses, those goggles, they better
The
stay on top.
specs. The specs. All right, we'll move on to Sam's team. Sam, I think a point that I have made about his team is that he's got players that could finish at the top of their position. And Christian McCaffrey, Leo Jones, Evan Ingram, even Drew Brees, they could all be number one at their respective positions, and that puts you in a good spot in fantasy football. Drew
Yeah.
Brees, king of consistency.
Yeah, if Akers could get it going and be the lead guy in Los Angeles, that'd be huge for him.
And you
Move.
can't complain when you got the best player in fantasy football,
Oh
Christian
no,
McCaffrey.
it's when you get the first pick and you get a CMC and goodness, those biceps. It's hard. It's hard to not like your squad. Um,
Exactly.
Tanner's squad. I mean, honestly, a big fan of the Kyler pick. I just like the running backs. They really make me think about this sound here. Oh, we don't have a sounds. I don't know what happened to the soundboard, but really makes me think about the ambulance and going to the hospital and
Wee wee
yeah,
wee
exactly. There you
wee.
go, Ryan. There you go. Uh, Todd Gurley's knee, that arthritis, it just scares me. And Dalvin Cook, he seems to find the injury list every single year. But love the wide receivers. Godwin, DJ Moore, probably two wide receivers I'm most excited about to watch this year. Even though they both have new quarterbacks and new systems, and sometimes that scares me. I'm just excited for those guys.
Upgrade at quarterback though, not
Yeah,
a downgrade
yeah,
for both
and
of them.
both
So,
both both cases.
all right, Nate's team. Nate stole a couple players from me in the draft. That's now gotten Tyreek Hill and Jarvis Landry, which leads into that I like his receivers as one of the stronger parts of his team. He's a little running back weak with Mixon and Ingram, but two guys who had solid years last year, and then he's got a chance at the second best tight end in football
Yeah,
with George
Mixon
Kittle.
Mixon's solid at the end of the year. Slow start with Burrow there. I mean, maybe it takes a little bit of weight out of him, but I think that offensive line is just a little weak. Cubs team, I'm a big fan of the wide receivers, Thomas and Cooper. I think Cooper needs to show up for a whole year. That would really help Cubs team a lot. Really
On
like
the
the
road.
lock. Yeah, yes, very much so. And I really like the Lockett pick, to be honest. It's a decent flex pick. Curious to see what David Johnson will do in Houston, and then curious to see what Sanders can do with a full season under his belt. But J.K. Dobbins and Murray, I really like those picks at running back.
Great handcuffs.
Yeah, he took those at the very end. I wanted one of them, both of them, and he snag them up. So good on him.
I'm a big fan of David Johnson as a player. I want to see him do well in Houston.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he could not get hurt and put together a nice year.
All right, moving on to Sean Carlin. He's got a pretty solid team at the top, especially. He's got the fantasy MVP from last year. Paid a nice pretty penny for Lamar Jackson. But I love me some Lamar Jackson. I want to see him have another huge year. He didn't do enough to surpass Mahomes for me last year, but I got a little bias in my heart. But I love me some Lamar. And then Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, two guys who can find the end zone a lot, catch a lot of balls out of the backfield, make a big impact in fantasy.
Yeah, definitely. Going down here to Joey's squad. Not the sexiest pick with Matt Ryan there, but definitely a solid, consistent quarterback for him. I think he's got two running backs that they're going to get the ball a lot on the ground. If they got the ball a little bit more in the air, that could be a scary squad. I like Thielen, like where he got Robinson, good value there. And then Hayden Hurst filling in that role of maybe what Austin Hooper had in Atlanta. Oh, that could be a scary, scary squad with Chris Carson at flex. I just like Joey's squad. Real big
Great
fan of Joey's
flex.
squad.
Yeah, he's got the top graded flex for me.
Alrighty, and I think now we'll just hop right back into the rankings. Just actually ranking guys 10-1. See who we
Everyone's
like the
been waiting
most.
for it. Everyone's been waiting for it. And we're bringing it to you here at the Ball City Podcast.
Alrighty, Clayton and Ryan's rankings. I'll get started here with Nate at 10. My thing with Nate this year, he took. I need to get the rosters on this side. Whoa. My thing with Nate this year is he took Tyreek Hill just a little bit early for me. I think Mixon, where he got him, is fine, but has your RB1. Not one of the strongest RB1s out of everybody else. Jarvis Landry is a solid wide receiver too, but maybe we'd like to see him more on the flex. Gordon, I think, would be interesting to see where he's at the running back spot in Denver, but it's hard to question Nate with back-to-back championship appearances. So the fact that I have
Very
him at
true.
10 now, I mean, homeboy probably snags another ring this year or something. So it's hard to rank him there.
I feel like we've rated you at the bottom of the rankings before, Nate, and I just had to say that I didn't put you there. Also, one point I'd like to make. Me and Clayton made these lists completely independently. In the past, we've done some joint rankings, stuff like that. These are from the heart. We come to you brutally honest here
Definitely.
with our own rankings. So at my 10, you know him, you hate him, Harley. Um, like I said, you'll see this as a trend in my rankings. If you got weaker running backs, you fall near the bottom of my rankings. And I think Harley, with those picks at the end of the first round, got a little bit of the short end in the pickings there. So Austin Eckler and James Conner, two guys who should have lead duties in their own backfield and could be good, catch a lot of balls, get some extra points in that PPR system that we run. But I want to see him do it. James Conner's had, I don't know, a year and a half where he was really good. Austin Eckler had last year where he was a featured back for 7-8 games and was really strong. I love Devontae Adams as your wide receiver one.
Yeah,
Like I
definitely
mentioned
solid
earlier
pick.
with Higbee. Great tight end, I think. So, we'll see.
At my 9, I have Harley. Pretty much just piggybacking off what you just said. The James Conner and Austin Eckler, they really have to prove it, and they really have to be guys. And I think they could be, and I think that really would boost Harley like up a lot. Right now I'm just a little bit hesitant about those two players, and I don't know, just not a Ridley guy at wide receiver too.
Yeah, Ridley doesn't do much for me either. All right, I'll get you into my nine. Again, a little bit of the weaker running backs on Cubs team with Miles Sanders and David Johnson. Two guys that I really want to do well. Really want them to do well. Feel good stories if they do. But I'm a little worried about David Johnson. He's missed most of the last 2 years with injuries or even getting benched last year with Cardinals.
Yeah,
So I'm interested to see how he turns out in Houston.
yeah, no, definitely. Coming in at my 8, I have Sean. My thing with Sean and like the probably the knock that I mean that's come back to bite me is I just don't think Aaron Jones has the same year that he had last year. I think them drafting AJ Dillon so high takes away some of his touchdowns, and then today on the Pat McAfee show they had Aaron Rodgers on, and Aaron
Jamal
Rodgers was
Williams.
hyping up Jamal Williams. Said he had an extra little burst of speed there. And he's been working on some routes. So, I mean, Aaron Jones caught a lot of balls for him last year, so that might cut into them too. So, we're a little
He
worried
found the
there.
end zone a lot.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Might
And
see a little bit of regression
yeah,
back to
definitely. I
lower
think
numbers.
I'd be shocked if he gets near the same number. And then I think Jonathan Taylor, I really like Jonathan Taylor, but I think they still are going to give the ball a fair amount to Marlon Mack. I think Jonathan Taylor might be a year away from being a stud. I think he is going to be a stud. I think this year might be too soon. Maybe the end of this year, maybe, but I don't know. That was probably why I have him lower. And then I don't know his wide receiver too. I think he has guys that could be good wide receivers too, but I think they're just question marks until they prove it. So that's why Sean's at my 8.
If Josh Allen could bring in that deep ball with Diggs, they could be a nice little combo out there in
Yeah.
Buffalo. All right, Nate, I didn't put you at 10, but I do have you at 8. Again, running backs, I think Joe Mixon and Mark Ingram are solid. I just don't want either of them as my as my running back one this year. Um, Mixon playing with a rookie quarterback and a not so great offensive line makes me nervous. Some Todd Gurley factor, some other running backs that have struggled in the past year, Saquon Barkley. So we'll see how they do. I do like your receivers and your tight end. That's why you get a little boost from me instead of Clayton. And then Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's a fantasy stud every year. We
Yeah,
don't give enough credit to Russell Wilson.
yeah, he
But we
kills.
just gloss over him anyway because he's going to get to 25, 30 points a game.
Yeah, he's solid. Love watching Russ play. At my 7, I have Cub. You already touched on him a little bit. I think the reason I like Cub a little bit more than you is I really like his wide receivers between Thomas and Cooper. I think if Cooper could really put together full year, and I think that offense is going to be so great. And then I really do like Tyler Lockett, and I can't sleep on Mark Andrews after the year he had with Lamar Jackson last year. And if Wentz could put together a healthy season,
Oh,
I mean, he could be dangerous at the quarterback position. So I think that's why I'm a little bit higher on Cub than you. But
definitely. Definitely is room for improvement. All right, I've got Tanner in at my 7. I couldn't put you in the top 5 with that draft that you put together. Um, I'll believe that Todd Gurley will be Todd Gurley again when I see it, which I really hope he is for the guy, for his own sake. And then mostly a little bit of questions surrounding Julian Edelman there in the flex. I don't know what he'll do. He kind of tailed off all of last season, really, dipping his production. I would love to see AJ Green and Joe Burrow take off and see AJ Green put in that flex spot instead. And I think Tanner's team would get a big upgrade.
I have Tanner right ahead of you. I think I just like the wide receivers just a tad bit more, and Chris Godwin and DJ Moore. Big Kyler guy, big Dalvin guy. I agree with you on the Edelman thing. Hopefully Fant has a good year in Denver. I'd like to see that. And my thing with AJ Green is I just really think it's going to be Tyler Boyd. I don't know. That's my thing there, but I think I just love Tanner's wide receivers. I think they're going to be two wide receivers that I'm just going to look forward to watching every time they play, and that's just why I have him at 6.
Not super flashy guys, but real can play in the slot, can play in the outside, catch a lot of balls.
I think they're both good route runners.
Very much. All right, I've got Sean at my 6th. Like I said, top of his team, I really love the top of Sean's team. Lamar, Kamara, and Aaron Jones. Guys that can get you 25 points a week, catch a lot of balls out of the backfield. Lamar gets you passing points, rushing touchdowns are worth a lot for quarterbacks. So he's got big value there. I'm interested to see how Drew Lock had a strong finish to last year. Cortland Sutton depend real strongly on that.
Yeah, if he could get his wide receivers to hit, and Aaron Jones doesn't take as big as a hit as I think he is, I think Sean could definitely be pretty scary with Lamar and Kamara.
And Jared Cook flashes every year at some point for 2 games or so.
That's true.
Puts together a couple 30 bombs, it seems like.
At 5 for me, I have Casey. And my thing with Casey, I do like his draft. Really did like his draft. I like Barkley. I like Chubb. I like Evans. I like Allen. He drafted big name guys. That's what I like. I like to see Watson, big name guy. I think I'm worried about Evans. He was put on IR last year for his hamstring injury. Sounds like that's still bugging him. He's questionable right now because of the hamstring. So I think if he has a slow start to the season, can't quite get going with Brady, and Brady, I mean, with all those weapons they got in Tampa, I think that could really hurt his value. And then my thing with Casey, too, is Chubb and Hunt. I mean, he has them both, but, I mean, you kind of want Chubb to be the guy there for him, but definitely.
Or at least one of them to be the guy.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
they're both very capable players.
Oh, 100%. But they did just sign Hunt for a new contract, about $13 million 2 years, so that's kind of my knock on Casey, but I do like the DK pick. If Evans doesn't get going, I think DK will be a fine kind of fill, but I mean, not quite maybe a wide receiver one.
Definitely. All right, I got Sam coming in at 5. I touched on Sam's team a little bit in the little preview that we did. He's got players that could be tops at their position at 3 or 4 positions, and that is good news in fantasy football. You love having number one guys. C-Mac, Julio Jones, Evan Ingram, Drew Brees. I like to see it. We've seen what Rams running backs can do in that Sean McVay offense. Cam Akers could pop off himself. And then that kicker. He's going to score a lot of points.
Could you imagine if Cam Akers was kind of like, not even like Todd Gurley, but even like Todd Gurley light on Sam's team? Oh.
Or like C.J. Anderson, bowling ball, played for a couple of games. We've seen that different running backs can do it, so see if he's plug and play.
Smart offensive mind down there in LA. For my 4, I have Sam, and I'll just come off that. I think Akers, like I said, if he becomes that lead guy, they definitely and they do rely on one guy, and he comes at you with McCaffrey, Akers, with Julio and Galladay, those 4. I mean, even and I really do like Juju in his flex. I think Sam has a solid squad this year. I'm not the biggest Drew Brees guy. He's definitely consistent. He's not super flashy though.
Doesn't throw picks. You don't like getting negative points. You never like seeing picks, and Drew Brees just don't throw them.
Yeah, but I think the uncertainty lies with me is I don't really know exactly what Cam Akers is going to be, and then Rojo, that backfield's crowded in Tampa, and David Montgomery's questionable, didn't quite do what he was supposed to last year. So, I mean, if Cam Akers can't get it going, Sam's running back 2 position is going to be a little bit slow, but I still think his team's solid.
Like your team, Sam. All right, it's hard to rate yourself in these ones, Clayton. That's what I've done with myself at 4. I think my team just has players. I got 4 of them on one of the best teams ever in the Chiefs. I got Go Boy to top the team. A couple of his running mates in Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Travis Kelce. Love to see if they can, get some passing touchdowns, double up week to week, and see if Mecole Hardman can even get in the action, maybe slide into my wide receiver 2 or a flex spot later in the year. I think my team is a team that will get better as the year goes on. Clyde will get better. Gibson, mostly like the running back position as these guys establish their roles. I'll be really interested to see who does that. And if Leonard Fournette can hit, I'll let you take over.
Well, Ryan, clearly I like your squad a lot too. You're at 3 for me, and I do think Leonard Fournette's going to hit. He 31% of the Jacksonville Jaguars offense last year, and that team was hard to watch some weeks. I had Fournette on my team last year. And
so you had to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And, he said it himself that he's got a real quarterback now in Tom Brady. So I'm excited to see if he can get it going there, and if he can really steal some shares, steal some of the touches, and maybe get more. Even if he gets a 65-35 split, I'm just excited for him in that offense. I'm excited for Hopkins with Cliff. Even though they're going to spread out 5 guys, I still think Hopkins can get his touches. That contract.
You can't. Yeah.
That contract
you can't not give him to him.
Is just ridiculous, and he did it all by himself. So props to him. I think Antonio Gibson will be good. I just think it might take a couple of weeks. And you always got your guy, little Justin Tucker. So
Justin Tucker,
solid 12 points there every week.
He doesn't miss.
He don't miss.
Love him. All right, I've got Joey coming in 1 spot ahead of me at number 3. Talked about it a little bit too. We like your running backs. Solid. Just wish they had been more involved in the passing game last year. That's not to say that they can't become more, especially Jacobs. I think Jacobs will have a solid role catching balls out of the backfield. They got rid of DeAndre Washington in Las Vegas now. And I like the double up between Matt Ryan and Hayden Hurst. Hope for some touchdowns between those guys and get you, 12, 15 points in play.
Definitely, I'm a big fan of Joey's squad too. He's my number two. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be a little bit more involved in the pass catching game this year, and I was hard. I mean, no one could stop Derrick Henry in the playoffs last year. The Chiefs just kind of they were able
The Chiefs kind of stopped him.
They were able to, but they were also had Mahomes boy just throwing the ball around, just making sure they were going to put up as much points as they needed. I don't think that team's going to win many shootouts, and I think that's what you have to do against the Chiefs. But he was unstoppable in the playoffs. I think Jacob gets the ball a little bit more. I love Thielen. I think he's consistent and solid every year. And the spot he got Allen Robinson at, I almost think it was a steal. If they could figure out that quarterback situation in Chicago, Allen Robinson had a solid season last year. I think.
Even with Trubisky.
Yeah. So I did agree and do like what you had to say about Hayden Hurst. And then Chris Carson is flex. That might be one of my favorite flex spots of the whole league. So
I put it at the top.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's solid flex. And then McLaurin and Boyd, I've already said good things about Boyd. I think he's going to be the number one down there in Cincinnati. So I think Joe's got a solid squad this year.
Alrighty. And I've got my co-host here at my number 2 spot. Clayton's put together another solid team that may just outscore all of our teams by 300 points again. But we'll wait and see. Some of those later picks pan out for him as well as they did last year. Love Ezekiel Elliott. Odell's going through some shit right now, but see how he gets. I think he'll respond well. I think he'll have a nice little bounce back year in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield, who I think is another quarterback that should probably be rostered at some point. I don't know if he is. Like the Lev Bell pick, I think the stuff coming out of New York is a little bit of smoke and mirrors. I suspect that Frank Gore is going to eat into his load considerably. And then Zach Ertz, Tom Brady, they speak for themselves. They're solid players every year. So I'm excited to see what Tom Brady does in that offense. And I don't even like Tom Brady.
Oh, I can't wait. I hope he shines because I'm my number 1 pick this year. I feel like I don't usually rank myself at 1. Usually I think I get myself top 3. But, I mean, after last season, and let's just for reference here, pull last season up. And let's just look. Oh, my goodness. 1,600 points. Harley was the next closest with 13. I did it last year. Why can't I do it again? I think my team's stacked. I love my squad. The trade with Ryan really helped me. Can't wait to see what Tom Brady does. Love me some Zeke. I think Drake's going to have a solid year. Hopefully Odell Beckham Jr. bounces back. Woods, excited to have him on my team. Ertz, excited for another good tight end. Bell does concern me a little bit, but I think A.J. Brown's going to be a stud. I just love the squad this year. Love the 2 defenses, too.
I was going to mention the double up.
Ranked in defenses, so if your boys need a defense, you just let me know.
2 defenses, 2 quarterbacks, and only 3 running backs on your team. Better watch out.
Yeah, Cup took the 2 running backs I wanted, so that's why my team is constructed the way it is.
Maybe target a couple trades with somebody. Someone maybe he'll wants one of those defenses. Alrighty, I've got Casey as my number 1. There's a couple reasons for this. 1, I like your team a little bit, Casey. 2, I'm pretty sure I picked you as the best team last year at the start of the season, and you finished last, and I'm hoping that maybe it repeats.
I mean, if you guys didn't watch the video of him singing Country Road Takes Me Home, I highly recommend it. It's on my Instagram, Clayton_8.
And I would love to see Casey be punished again. But let's go into why I did rank you at number 1, because I actually did that legitimately. I come to you honestly. Here, guys, I speak from the heart. Casey, you went running back heavy. I love that. Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb with your first 2 picks. Very strong. I think Deshaun Watson is still great. I don't think he desperately needs DeAndre Hopkins to be great.
Yeah,
I think he can still be a top 5 quarterback without. He's got the extra rushing value. Oh, yeah. They might call on him to do that some more this year. I didn't see the Mike Evans injury, so this is a little bit pre-Evans injury for me. I think he'll catching balls from Tom Brady will be better for you than Jameis Winston. And then Keenan Allen, who else are you going to throw it to other than him and Austin Eckler?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe Hunter Henry sees the field for a handful of games,
Yeah,
but
we'll see. I want to see him do it for a full year before I start to commit to that. And then Cooper Cup. I love Cooper Cup. Great route runner. Great rapport with Jared Goff. Great offense in Los Angeles down there. So I put you at one, Casey. Please prove me wrong.
alrighty. Real quick, we're at 25 minutes. So, what's one running back you think's gonna pop, and one wide receiver that you think's gonna pop and be MVPs for the league?
All right, I'm gonna stay away from my own team because I think all my players are gonna pop. Uh, I'm gonna hop on the Will Fuller bandwagon at wide receiver here, but I'm gonna give myself an easy out if he gets hurt. But I think being the number one, him and Brandon Cooks will kind of share that role in Houston, but I think he'll take advantage of it. And then the running back, I'm gonna go with J.K. Dobbins.
That's a good pick. I'm definitely a fan of JK. I'm gonna go with Antonio Gibson on your squad. I don't know if Leonard Fournette's considered a sleeper guy that can pop, but maybe him too. And then DK
It's hard to
Metcalf.
consider him a sleeper if he finished at like 3
Yeah,
last year.
exactly. But, I mean, just where he was getting drafted, ridiculous. But DK Metcalf's my wide receiver. I think second year with Russell. I think they'll get it going down there in Seattle. So really excited for the season this year. Excited to hang out with all the boys on when they're in town and watching games with them. Excited for that group chat to be below and up, and excited to smoke you guys like I did last year.
I'm excited to get some dubs and finally shut Clayton up.
Yeah, someone needs to.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to taking all your guys' money this year. I have no friends during fantasy football season, so don't text me like we're friends.
Sounds good. Alrighty, we'll talk to you guys again next week. Probably coming back to you every Wednesday or Thursday. Good luck this year, boys.